Hold on, please. All right, I will. I just set this up real quick. You want to be my camera person?
Sure.
Just carry it. Make sure it's facing this way. Just make sure.
Yeah.
So the two of them are going to go first, then the honors are going to go right behind him, and then you can all follow after that, okay? So follow me, please.
There's supposed to be two people.
Ready?
And I'll have you sit in the black chair. You're going to be receiving the flag?
Yep.
We're going to actually physically give it to you. You can just sit in your seat and then once they present it to you, they're going to stick it on the table here.
Okay.
And then after the service, you can
Okay.
return to your seat.
Order. Come.
You can all come in and have a seat, please. And do you have masks? You need to put a mask on, please, if you're up in the shelter area. Thank you.
We'll now be firing 3 volleys, followed by taps. Present. Come. Present. Arms.
On behalf of the President of the United States Army, and the grateful nation, please accept this flag as a symbol of our appreciation for your loved one's honorable and faithful service.
Brother. Arms. And these three shells represent the three valleys flared by the honor guard. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless the United States of America. Retire the service flag.
Welcome, friends and family. It's a long journey for everybody, particularly a long journey for the current COVID environment. A lot of people weren't able to join us. Katie, Genesis, Promise, an even longer journey for you to get here today. You've lost a lot along the way, and hopefully this ceremony will help bring closure to each of us in our own way. Thank you to the honor guard for providing the final honors to my brother. I'll be followed by Aunt Nancy to provide a eulogy, and my brother Mark for some final comments. We don't have a lot of time today, so every moment counts.
Could you pull the chair up? Or I got it. I always loved Jonathan's name. I loved how his mom, my sister Carol, chose to put his names together, Jonathan and David. Jonathan has a Hebrew origin meaning gift of God. David also has a Hebrew meaning which is beloved. In the Bible, Jonathan and David were best friends. Jonathan was the son of King Saul. David eventually succeeded King Saul and would become one of the greatest kings of Israel would ever have. I love Jonathan's David Messare, and he has fulfilled that name that he was given. He was a gift from God and was beloved by me as well as his family and friends. Jonathan was a true character who always walked to the beat of his own drum, was an enthusiastic, gifted storyteller, musician, singer, and poet. Jonathan had a sweet smile, wonderful laugh, and a beautiful twinkling blue eyes. Jonathan loved hats and wore all sorts and had a flair for fashion. Jonathan loved animals and had several beloved dogs, including Freedom and Zeke, and even had a special horse named Charlie. Jonathan loved living in the West and enjoyed Western-themed books and movies. Jonathan loved traveling, went to Israel a couple times, and traveled to the U.S. John loved doing anything outdoors, including camping and fishing, hiking and riding motorcycle. John was in the U.S. Army for approximately 7 years and ended his service with the rank of sergeant. John had been to the DMZ in South Korea, went reserve status, and then was called back to active duty for the Iraq War. While in Iraq, he was injured and was airlifted to Germany and then back to the U.S. and was a patient at Walter Reed Hospital for approximately 2 years with multiple medical problems. If you asked John where he went to school, he would say the School of Hard Knocks, always a joker, but in reality he studied in 2007 Homeland Security at Kaiser University. In 2010, John studied at Crass Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences, John loved making music and had his own studio at various times and recorded a beautiful CD with his wife Katie. One of John's biggest claim to fame was his hugging. No one could hug like John did. If there was ever a contest for giving the best hug, Jonathan would definitely have won it. I can remember my boys were teens and they saw John, and they reached out to give him a handshake, and John drew them in and said, "We're cousins and we hug," giving them a big bear hug. I used to look forward to his hug, and I think I will miss that the most about him. John leaves behind his wife Katie, daughters Genesis and Promise, and sons Elijah and Malachi, parents Carol and Peter, brothers Mark, Stephen, Scott, and sister Kristen, a brother-in-law, sister-in-laws, many nieces and nephews, one grandnephew, grandparents, 3 aunts, 1 uncle, and cousins. Family meant everything to him. John suffered through most of his life with mental illness, a condition that affects a person's thinking, feelings, or mood. Such conditions may affect the ability to relate to others and function each day. Although the exact cause of the mental illness is not known, it is becoming clearer through research that conditions are caused by a combination of genetic, biological, psychological, and environmental factors, not a personal weakness or a character deficit. Recovery from mental illness is not simply a matter of will and self-discipline. When someone is living with mental illness, it not only affects that person, but it deeply touches the entire family. John has also suffered with chronic pain secondary to a back injury in the military, making him 100% disabled. Living with the chronic pain was a constant daily battle for him. The pain impacted every area of his life, including managing day-to-day tasks that we all take for granted. Even with medications and various treatments, chronic pain does not go away. It puts a strain on you physically, mentally, and emotionally. Even though he was in so much physical and mental anguish at the end of his life, he never gave up his love for his family or his faith in Jesus Christ as his Savior. Because of his saving faith, he is suffering no more and is present with the Lord in heaven. Funerals are a great place to learn wisdom. At a funeral, we are reminded of our own mortality. We are reminded that we are only on the earth for a short time, and we are to make the most of it. We are reminded to focus on the eternal things that will give us eternal value rather than on material things that won't last. 1 Timothy 6:7 says, "For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out." Heaven is not a mythical place. It is the holy dwelling of the Lord Most High, and we cannot even comprehend its splendor. The Bible gives us beautiful descriptions of the place in which those who receive Jesus will spend eternity. In closing, Carol chose for John's gravestone 2 Timothy 4:7. "I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith." John did fight the good fight with all he went through on this earth. He finished the race, and he definitely kept the faith. We love John. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. We're going to miss him. This is 2 Samuel chapter 1. Starts in verse 25. "How the mighty have fallen in battle. Jonathan lies slain on your heights. I grieve for you, Jonathan, my brother. You were very dear to me. Your love for me was wonderful, more wonderful than that of women. How the mighty have fallen. The weapons of war have perished." You guys that got to meet Jonathan, all of you in different ways, you know, he was a good man. He had his flaws. I started martial arts at 16 because of Jonathan. He used to beat the crap out of me when I was little. And I've been in the military for almost 13 years. I'm out now, obviously they have. But never had a gun pulled on me except for by my brother Jonathan. You know, Jonathan and David, I'm glad you brought that up about Jonathan and David. They were, Jesus said, they asked Jesus, well, what are the greatest commandments? What are the greatest commandments? And Jesus said, there's 2. First is love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second is equal to that, love your neighbor as yourself. And the only record of history of anybody doing that was the story of Jonathan and David. It said that Jonathan loved David like he loved himself, And, you know, love, if you've ever loved somebody, it's not always easy to love people, you know, because all of us are a mess, you know. The only ones who ever weren't a mess was Adam and Eve, and they fixed that, or they messed that problem up really quick. So, you know, if you knew my brother, you probably lived with the good times and the bad times of Jonathan. You know, I had phone calls from prison. Me and him, we did a lot. We started in 2017. We bought a couple real expensive camcorders, and we said we were going to go on a Defenders of Freedom tour and videotape a whole bunch of guys. We started in Sin City, which is Vegas, and we ended in the Holy Land, which is Israel. And so, the good thing about that is there's lots of footage of Jonathan that we have yet to pull off, and we'll hopefully get, you know, Katie will get that, and you know, we have lots of, those of us who don't have that have memories of him. And, you know, no matter how old we live, how young we are when we die, like he was too young, is that, you know, 100 years is not long enough on this earth. And that's why, you know, like Aunt Nancy said, you know, we're meant for eternity, and that's where Jonathan is now. He had problems, but he did. He loved his kids. He told me that every time he talked to me. He cried all the time for his family. But, you know, we all make choices, and we all, you know, not everything is perfect on this life. But, you know, if we would do what, you know, when Jonathan loved David in the scriptures, he took a risk, you know, because the moment he began to love David as he loved himself, he was you know, at odds with the government. You know, King Saul wanted to kill David, and so Jonathan, who was supposed to be the next king, put his own life at risk by loving David. And so we all love Jonathan David, Messare, and I just know that he's still here with us in spirit, that he sees what's going on. I really believe that, you know, and I believe that he realizes that the last few months of his life he was kind of just a mess, you know, and he wishes he could be here for longer, you know, for his kids, and for Katie, and for me, you know, and all of us. And so, you know, I just would challenge all of us that we should try loving people even when it's hard, you know, and when they hurt us, to try to forgive them. You know, we're supposed to, in the Our Father prayer, it says, forgive us our trespasses, we forgive those who trespass against us. So, you know, as we do that, that's what love is really all about. And, you know, my brother and me, we've been through a lot. I remember one more thing I just want to say is that when we were little, me, Jonathan, Steve, and Scott all had camouflage. We actually had camouflage Bible covers at one point that my mom made for us. And we all got camouflage pants every year. We played Army in the Woods. And we grew up, and 3 out of 4 of us joined the military. We had one smart brother, Steve. He didn't join the military, but it's okay. But anyways, and Kristen. But so we played Army. He loved weapons. I remember Mom had a closet full of weapons his whole life. Like, she'd be like, "Where'd you get that knife?" He'd be like, "I found it," you know. "Where'd you get that throwing star?" "Oh, somebody gave it to me," you know. He'd have weapons all the time. If you ever got patted down, even as a 7-year-old, he'd have several weapons on him. So, I don't know. But I miss him. I love him. And thank you everybody for being here. And God bless you.
This concludes the formal portion of it. Please take an opportunity to pay respects, and then when you're done with that, move back to the cars. There's another ceremony right after this. Remain social distance, and